The most dramatic angle, Constantine I knew for months he would die, refused every offer of escape, and chose to dissolve into the anonymous dead, an emperor who deliberately erased himself, so that his people could never confirm his end, transforming himself into a ghost that would haunt Ottoman rule for centuries. The gates are breaking. Bronze hinges scream against stone as 68 days of bombardment finally find their purpose. And through the shattered walls of the Kirkoporta, a narrow postern gate left unbarred by accident or treachery, the first Ottoman soldiers push into the city like blood flooding a wound. Constantine XI. Mehmed Palaiologos, the last Roman emperor, tears the purple from his shoulders and throws it to the ground. He does not run. He does not call for his guard. He draws his sword and walks forward into the tide of men pouring through the breach, and in the gray light of May 29th, 1453, he disappears. No one will ever find his body. No one will ever confirm his death. He simply ceases to exist, swallowed whole by the world he failed to save. Around him, the city that called itself the Second Rome for 11 centuries begins its final mourning. The great walls that turn back, Persians, Arabs, Avars, and Bulgars, are rubble now, and the sound filling the streets is not the clash of armies, but something worse, silence from the defenders, and then screaming from everyone else. He was never supposed to be emperor. Constantine was the fourth son of Manuel II, a scholarly father who wrote treatises on rhetoric while his empire shrank to almost nothing. The throne came to him only because his brother John VIII died childless in 1448, leaving behind an empire that was an empire in name alone. Constantinople and a few scraps of the Peloponnese, a magnificent head severed from its body. Constantine had spent his early years as a capable military governor in the Morea, rebuilding the hexamillion wall across the Isthmus of Corinth, dreaming of reconquest. He was practical, brave, and fatally optimistic. His fatal flaw was not weakness, but belief that Christendom would rally, that the Pope would send armies, that Venice and Genoa would set aside their merchant rivalries for something greater than profit. They never did. The Union of the Churches, signed at Florence in 1439 to buy Western military aid, produced riots in Constantinople and almost nothing from the West. When Sultan Mehmed II, 21 years old and burning with the ambition of a man who believed God had chosen him to fulfill prophecy, began constructing the fortress of Rumeli Hisara on the Bosphorus in 1452, Constantine sent diplomats. Mehmed sent back their heads. The emperor had perhaps 7,000 defenders for 14 miles of walls. Mehmed brought somewhere between 80 and 200,000 men, and a cannon so large it required 60 oxen to move. The siege began on April 6th. For nearly 2 months, Constantine performed miracles of logistics and morale, racing between walls, repairing breaches overnight that the great bombard opened each day. Giovanni Giustiniani, a Genoese soldier of fortune, commanded the defense at the most vulnerable section and fought with extraordinary tenacity. On April 22nd, Mehmed dragged 70 ships overland on greased logs to bypass the chain across the Golden Horn, and the defenders watched the impossible become real. Mehmed offered terms: surrender the city, keep your lives, keep your property. Constantine reportedly answered that he would give anything except Constantinople itself, and that the city's fate and his own were the same. On the night of May 28th, the entire city gathered in the Hagia Sophia for a final liturgy, Orthodox and Catholic together for the first and last time, the theological quarrel dissolved by terror. You are standing in that nave, and the gold mosaics catch the candlelight of 1,000 flames, and every face around you knows that dawn will bring the end of a world. Constantine took communion, asked forgiveness of every person he had wronged, and rode to the walls. The final assault came in waves, first irregulars, then Anatolian regulars, then the Janissaries. Giustiniani took a wound and was carried to a ship, and the defense cracked with his departure. The fall took hours. The sack lasted 3 days. Mehmed entered the Hagia Sophia and ordered it converted to a mosque, pressing his hand to the floor in prayer, where emperors had been crowned for 900 years. He reportedly wept at the destruction his own soldiers had wrought, and murmured a Persian verse about ruin and spiders spinning webs in palaces. Constantine's body was never identified with certainty. Some accounts claim Mehmed displayed a head, but others say it was misidentified. This absence became the most powerful thing Constantine ever created. Within a generation, Greek legend held that he had not died, but been turned to marble by an angel and hidden beneath the Golden Gate, waiting to reclaim the city when God willed it. The Marble Emperor, they called him, a myth that sustained a conquered people for 500 years. He had understood, perhaps in that last moment when he threw down the purple, that an emperor who vanishes is more dangerous than one who falls. The Ottoman sultans ruled Constantinople for centuries, renamed it, reshaped it, made it glorious again in ways Constantine could never have imagined. And yet beneath every stone, in every whispered Greek prayer, the question persisted, beautiful and unanswerable. If a city can outlive its empire, can an emperor outlive his city?